New Sprint Ride Option podcast. The 49ers back in the win column after a huge win up in Seattle. We're going to talk all things 49ers win. New Sprint Ride Option podcast starts now.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go, Niners.
Let's go, Niners. Sprint Ride Option podcast. Oh my goodness, we are live. And Jason Aponte, if the regular season ended right now, the San Francisco 49ers, despite it all, would be your NFC West champions. As Jason's flexing the Yankees shirt, I'm sure we're going to talk New York Yankees in a little bit as well. But we are here. We're back with a 49ers win. Third time it's happened this season. Best win of the season, I think, by far. I know there was some special team shenanigans in the middle of it. We're more or less used to the special team shenanigans. But Jason, huge win. Niners ahead of the NFC West. We like it. We feel good.
We feel great. And I had it 38-27, 36-24. Look.
Close enough.
Yeah, but still, this is a game that's really cool because the 49ers defensive line played well. The secondary played better as we've got this heave into the end zone that is game over now. Diamador Lenore, Malik Mustafa, Bernardo Green. When you were tested the most, when you had a team that can really throw the ball down the field, you came up big. And I don't want to hear shit anymore about, and you know what, we're getting spicy because, Yankees are in the ALCS. Our kicker's injured. Our second kicker is now injured, and he's leaving the field right now. So,
are you serious?
That's not good. Yep.
That's right.
But the San Francisco 49ers just dog walked the Seattle Seahawks at home. And I think I'm most excited about Isaac Guerrero running the football. Oh my God, what a good thing that is to see because of the Jordan Mason discussion that we continuously have. Yeah,
I mean, Isaac Guerrero, I thought he was fine, and then he has that big 76-yard run to put the game away. So that really feels good. I mean, 228 yards on the ground with Jordan Mason leaving more or less at halftime. I mean, he came in for that one snap, and he looked like a man who had zero interest in getting hit by another football player. So it's a good that Shanahan took him out. I mean, I guess it was something that Mason said he was good to go, and Shanahan believed him, and Mason was like, no, I'm not. But it's just really a dominant game, and you really – that's what you needed to see from this Niners team, a huge response. And, Jason, you talked about it this morning, making them one-dimensional, 52 passes to 20 rushes for the Seattle Seahawks. And even, too, I mean, it wasn't even the Niners making them one-dimensional. Kenneth Walker didn't have a very good game, 14 carries for 32 yards. So it just – that's the 49ers that we are used to seeing. We are used to seeing that brand of 49er football all the way down to like the special team shenanigans that almost ruin things a little bit, but we're feeling good. So Jason, we're playing tonight's instant reaction under Sprint Right Option podcast rules. Typically what we do is we bring three things to each win. I think there's a few things that both of us can talk about. I want you to start, though, what you took away from this game. It is a final score now for those of you joining as the game comes to an end. The 49ers beat the Seattle Seahawks 36-24. This is the Sprint Right Option podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Thursday night, a victorious Thursday night for the San Francisco 49ers. Jason, what is your number one thing you are bringing to the table after the 49ers win tonight?
Well, damn, now another kicker hurt. So go find the next one that you found at Trader Joe's, like you found Matthew Wright. If there was ever a time to be right about the kicker thing, it's this. When you're in one game, you can find somebody off the street. I am not too worried about what happens with the kicker because you'll find someone who can do exactly what Matthew Wright just did.
And then also we got John. Thank you for the super chat. Brock not seeing the blitz and hitting the hot is still a problem. Looked a little better doing it tonight. For what it's worth, he had a couple where I think it was one inside his own end zone as well. I believe Jason that he had a hot read and he got it out pretty quick. So Jason, what did you take? What was your number one thing you want to take from this win?
The secondary. I think obviously Malik Mustafa starting this game as a rookie, being there, leaving the game. We looked at this and Charvarius Ward wasn't available in this game, and everybody starts to look around and say, "Oh my goodness, like what is this? What happens?" Bernardo Green with an interception, Malik Mustafa with an interception. Demo is still him. This was it's exactly what I was trying to tell you, Andrew, this earlier today. There's no team that would probably play this game better as the wounded animal as the 49ers would. And this just felt like no matter what, you know what? You're going to throw us out. You're going to throw Mooney Ward out. Cool. We're going to find a way to get this done. This was, and at certain parts, we all felt like, oh, we're watching it again. This was, by all accounts, easily the easiest win. The best win, not the easiest win, the best win. And now you can springboard yourself with 10 days to get ready for the Kansas City Chiefs. And by the way, the New York Yankees eliminated Patrick Mahomes today too as well. So I am on an all-time high right now. 49ers win 36-24. The New York Yankees eliminate Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Royals and his stupid ass antics on the sideline. Go home, pal. Get ready for football. Learn football season because the Niners are coming in 10 days.
Hey, Macklin Celebrini for the Sharks. If we're talking other sports, goal and an assist in his first career game. So Sharks hockey all the way back. No, Jason, you mentioned the secondary, and that's absolutely, I think, the place where I want to start because it's not even the interceptions, the Mustafa, the Bernardo Green. We got 3 cornerstone rookies and puny Mustafa Green, 3 late round picks for the 49ers. Well, I think Green was a second round pick, so not late. But again, Niners finding players in the later rounds in the NFL draft, looking really good. Thank you, JP Hella Hard, for the super chat. But I think of the drive right before the end of the second quarter. Seattle kicks a field goal, 11-play drive. Geno takes a deep shot to DK Metcalf, and George Odom gets there just in time to break up the pass.
Incredible
That's a huge play. That's a huge play. Seattle does get to the 1-yard line, and I don't know what they were trying to do. But they more or less ran the same play 3 plays in a row in that goal line situation. Lenore had a pass breakup. Bernardo Green had we'll call it a pass breakup.
That's a pass breakup.
It's a pass breakup. Metcalf ran out of room because of Bernardo Green interrupting the catch. That's what we'll use. And Seattle has to kick a field goal. And that's just a huge momentum swing because the Niners – again, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit. First half red zone problems did rear their head. They had 4 scoring possessions in the first half, 3 field goals, 1 touchdown. So you have 4 scoring possessions, and you're still only up 2 scores. And so it's tough. And so a touchdown there, maybe Seattle only goes for 1, but you're at the 2-yard line. Seattle gets the 3 instead of the 7. Now it's a 13-point game going into the half. That's a huge swing for the 49ers secondary to force those plays, especially with how the second half started. Niners go down, score their touchdown, and then, Jason, you got to admit, on the kickoff return, you thought the game was like not over, but you were.
I seen it.
I saw the writing on the wall, and it was like, oh, here we go again. And Seattle chipped away. Obviously, the Niners pull away, but just how important that 3 or that 5 or 6 play stretch happens with Odom breaking up the deep shot to Metcalf, and then Lenore and Bernardo Green breaking up Smith and Jigba, and Metcalf plays in the end zone. Just it's a huge swing of momentum, and I just shout out the secondary because you lose Charvarius Ward before the game, and this is the game we have. I mean, what I say? He threw 52 passes, 30 for 52. Like that's not good. That's not great. 310 yards, 6.0 average. Like, it's not a good game, especially for 52 passes. And the 49ers secondary just did a hell of a job.
The best back-to-back plays of this season, hands down, in any sequence. Offense, defense, whatever. The best back-to-back plays this season from the 49ers belong to Diamador Lenore and Bernardo Green in back-to-back plays when you're literally up against it at the 1 and you force them to take a field goal. That's the difference. The defense wasn't being finishers, especially down the stretch. When you do that at the half, that was the moment where you almost feel like this is about to be a Walker walk-in touchdown. Anybody who had Walker anytime touchdown, you were sweating right there. But I think, again, if there was ever a team that was ready to move and change and a sense of where they're supposed to be, even when everyone counts them out, it was going to be the 49ers. And, you lose Mooney Ward 90 minutes before the game starts, and then you get this from Bernardo Green and from Malik Mustafa and Diamador Lenore. Man, I don't know what it says about this game. This is the most exciting win of the season, clearly, because the other two were just against porous teams. But this one feels like this is still a very well-coached, well-disciplined team that can still get it done going into the end. And when they need something, they can get it done. I that's the stuff that I want to take. If the 49ers blew out the Seahawks, I might not have learned anything about them. I learned a lot about them tonight, and I feel that way, and I feel like that a lot of people should.
Yeah, we talked about it, Jason, about earlier today when we had our first episode of Sprint Right Option podcast. It was, Niners fans are used to seeing Metcalf and Lockett. Now Smith and Jigba has his role. No Charvarius Ward. What if I told you that, let's see if we can do some quick math, 17-28. Tyler Lockett, Smith and Jigba, and DK Metcalf were targeted a combined 28 times. They finished with 12 receptions. So 12 for 28 on target receptions for that big three. And that's huge without Charvarius Ward. And you look very shocked, Jason. Is something you good?
I'm good.
You good? I'm making sure I didn't miss anything. So I just wanted to make sure.
No, not that. No. I'm good.
So it's huge to see, and it's the rookies. It's Bernardo Green, Malik Mustafa, and it sucks that they lose Mustafa to injury, and you don't have the fallback plan anymore. You don't have Deshaun Gibson to go sign because he's in Jacksonville now, I believe. So it's going to be an interesting decision to see where they go at safety. But man, you would think without Charvarius Ward, it would be a struggle for the secondary for the struggles they've had all season, and here we are talking about just how good of a game the secondary had.
You're burying the lead, Andrew.
Oh,
you are.
What's the lead?
Debo Samuel Sr.
Yeah. That's a huge play.
Big Debo game.
Yeah.
Oh, Jason, what are you talking about? What do you mean big Debo game? Oh, 3 catches for. He had 4 touches last week. You didn't think that they were going to get the football to Debo Samuel?
Mm-hmm.
Debo Samuel Sr., nice to see you, man. We always know that you're kind of back there.
Yeah.
But stop playing with me, man. Stop playing with me. If I tell you 1 week it's Ayuk, I tell you this week is Debo. Don't ask me are you sure? No. I'm sure. The shit, man. Don't play with me.
But here, I'll just to get to Debo too. I'll bring up my first big thing, and that's second quarter. That's how I'll get to Debo Samuel. Is that second quarter was huge for the 49ers. They obviously they have the red zone drive in the first quarter. They get a field goal. It's rough. Not feeling good. Seattle goes 3 and out. Niners respond with a 1-play touchdown. That's their first play of the second quarter. It's a 1-play touchdown. Debo Samuel, and that's a huge play. They're like, no shit. It's a huge play. 76-yard touchdown. A huge play, right, Jason? But it's a huge play considering the Niners were getting really close to the end zone and not scoring. And now they're really far from the end zone. They're able to score. So it's huge in that sense too. But then the fumble happens. You kick a field goal. Bummer. I guess red zone issues. We're talking about it again. But then you force a 3 and out and you get more points. So Seattle ran before the 11-play drive that San Francisco held them to a field goal. Seattle ran 3 plays in the second quarter. The Niners were only able to get 13 points in the quarter because of the 2 field goals. But to me, that second quarter, it set the tone for the game, really. The Niners were able to force that fumble. And then, as I said, I already touched on it, the end of the end of the drive, the end of the second quarter. The second quarter was just a huge, to me, momentum swing for the 49ers. And it felt like something we haven't seen all season from them in that second quarter. I know the field goals were happening, but the defense just felt dominant. Yes, they did allow the long drive, but they held them to a huge 3. And I thought that third quarter was maybe one of the better quarters of the season for the 49ers, even though it only resulted in 2 field goals. So,
look, it's hard to get mad at stuff, but obviously the red zone stuff, you have 3 red zone touchdowns. Let's make sure we get that right. 3 red zone touchdowns in this game. That's better than 1. But the defense absolutely showed up. And now you get 10 days. Now this is a springboard. Now you feel like if Mooney was off today, he's got how long to get ready for the Chiefs. You feel a little bit better about the rooks, right? Like you hope
Yeah.
that this Malik Mustafa thing is not a long-term issue and it's something that he can bounce back from, because not only was he intercepting the football over his head, he was in the backfield being the downhill guy that we believe he can be. Ronaldo Green with the interception. I talked about this after the Patriots game. I felt like the 49ers wanted to get rookies on the field against the Patriots because they pose no threat. Now it was sink or swim against much better competition, and you have to feel much better about the way that this secondary has performed based on who they just played. And I'll tell you this, and it's crazy to say this, but the Chiefs wide receiver group doesn't even come close to what the 49ers are going to be looking at, against the Seattle Seahawks. Now, is the quarterback different? Clearly, right? Like, we get that part. But this was the biggest test. And to have Mooney Ward off the field, have Diamador Lenore flip around from outside, inside, have Malik Mustafa make these plays, have Ronaldo Green with the interception, this all has to be looked at as a huge jump and a place where everybody can feel better about playing other people. And I think that's the part that is crazy. We've already gotten returns on this rookie class.
Yep.
And it's only been 5-6 weeks. I don't know if we've ever gotten a return on a rookie class for seasons the way that we're getting right now through 5-6 weeks.
Well, now the conversation's very much open too between, I know Isaac Yadam, he got the nod to play because he's the veteran, but now it's Renardo's looking really good. And Yadam, I know he had a pass breakup against Metcalf. I think they said Metcalf dropped that ball. I'm going to call it a pass breakup because in real time it looked like a pass breakup. But it's just this Niners secondary, like it feels like it's so like week to week at this point, where 1 week it's bad, 1 week it's good. But it just feels really comfortable that it's not just the rookies, it's still Diamador Lenore dominating as well. The secondary just feels like it's in a really good place after Thursday, after this win. And I'm looking forward to see how they build off of it, because it's not going to get any easier. We've talked about the stretch of games, Jason. So I'm curious to see where the secondary goes from here. Hopefully the Malik Mustafa injury isn't too bad. Obviously the Jordan Mason injury is another one we're going to have to watch as well. But secondary looked really good, and that's all that matters. So, Jason, I brought up the second quarter. You mentioned the secondary. What do you got in terms of your second thing you bring in tonight?
Hi, Debo Samuel.
Yeah.
Hi, Debo Samuel. And you had to feel like this was the game for Debo Samuel. And I don't want to take like too much credit for it because it feels like an obvious call. And almost any week you can pick one of the 49ers. But for whatever reason, with Reek Woolen out, with Ayuk tangled up with Witherspoon, and with only Debo getting 4 touches last week, this felt like an obvious spot to get him involved and get him the ball. And now, obviously when Jordan Mason leaves this game, he's got to obviously carry the football from behind. But this felt like an obvious spot right here for Debo Samuel. National television against the Seahawks. Everybody's praying for your downfall. I thought he played fine. Aside from the one game that he missed, obviously he couldn't play in that game. But hello, Debo Samuel. Nice to see you, man. And I think that was good enough to kind of get people off the idea of, yeah, it's so easy to replace Debo Samuel. If it's so easy, then why is everybody looking for their Debo Samuel? Good to see you, pal. And it's always good when you're hooping for us.
Yeah, and it's again, like people will say, oh, well, only 3 receptions, yada, yada, yada. But that's kind of the art of Debo Samuel, is he does a lot in the minimal touches. He's the guy you give the ball to when you need that big play. And you look at everybody else. I mean, Jawan Jennings had as many receptions, just as many targets. George Kittle had more targets. And Debo Samuel, though, that's when he's in his bag. It's not necessarily the overall performance you're talking about. It's the big plays. And you get one. It's really the trademark Debo play. And they catch a little bit of a break. I believe it was Julian Love who got it caught in between the making a tackle and going for the interception. But that's the exact play you need Debo Samuel for, is him. I know a lot of people were talking about how he's only missed 2 tackles this season and all that. He made a few tackle breaking moves today. There we go. Apontadamus. We like that. That's a good. I like Apontadamus. That's a really, really good one.
The gods don't lie. Sorry.
But it's good to see that game from Debo Samuel. And now we're really getting into that territory of Ayuk had the big game last week. Jawan Jennings a couple weeks ago. You could even argue that Kittle had the big game for the passing offense today. But we're getting back to that point with the 49ers offense where it's pick your poison. Who's going to beat you? Who are you okay with beating you? And who are you going to stop? It seemed like Seattle was more focused on honing in Brandon Ayuk tonight. And it was Debo and Kittle's game. And Debo obviously making the big play that really, again, it's obviously a big play, 76 yards. But after all the conversation of the red zone issues, and then seeing the first red zone drive go for a field goal, to see Debo get that big touchdown in that situation was huge, and the Niners kind of went on from there.
Yeah, and Lane says it right. It's about the matchups with Debo, right? Like I'm not just like when I'm picking on like whatever it is the player is that I think that's gonna it's the advantage of the matchup, right? Reek Woolen not being there, it doesn't mean that he would have been following Debo, but it means that Witherspoon's large responsibility is going to be on Brandon Ayuk, and Ayuk is going to be fine against. It's not like Witherspoon's going to like shut him out. I don't think that was the part of it at all. And again, until I see the all 22, I can't say anything. But with Debo against whoever it is that's going to be on the opposite side, give me my guy. And JKBG says, Aponte Damas said I would lose weight, and the next week my wife left me. He was right. What a weight off my shoulders. Thanks, Aponte Damas. That is, as usual, comment of the day. Jake Tomko says, Mason injury. I don't know, Andrew. He was standing there on the sideline even when he wasn't ready to go. I feel like a little bit better than that.
Yeah, I mean, him getting back into the game, I said already, he didn't look too interested in contact. But him getting back into the game, I refuse to believe they took him back for an X-ray on his shoulder, saw it was like a broken collarbone, and we're like, get back in there, buddy. We're going to play football. So I'm going to guess the X-ray came back good, and it's just a muscle thing. And that's where 10 days comes into play here, Jason, is the Niners don't play a football game for 10 days. They can get healthy. And we'll see what 10 days can mean, because the way the pregame show made it sound like was maybe McCaffrey is gonna rev it up in the next couple of weeks. They
Early
mentioned
November.
Ricky Pearsall is going to practice. So we'll see what 10 days can do for the 49ers as they don't play until next Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs. And then Kamari, we are so fucking back. Nothing else matters. I love that energy. That's the energy we need. You'll go. Your second thing was a player. My second thing is a player. Nick Bosa.
Yeah. Good to see you, pal.
I haven't been particularly thrilled with the pass rush, and I think you can make the argument. I don't think they got a sack tonight. They did. They got one sack. And Bosa, I don't like. It's week 6, and we shouldn't necessarily be talking about effort. Next gen stats had Bosa at 14 pressures last night, tonight, right now. The game just ended, not last night. But next gen stats had him for 14 pressures. He was in the backfield all game. He had the first, dare I say, forced fumble in NFL history that wasn't a forced fumble because Smith somehow held onto the ball in the pocket. But I mean, even too, Leonard Floyd had a couple of pressures, but just Nick Bosa was all over the place tonight. And I know the defense, there's a lot of places. Even too, that Fred Warner, you remember way back in the second quarter, that Fred Warner screen pass, the Kenneth Walker had a screen pass. Fred Warner slipped through two. Like, I could talk about that play all night. But I just, if we're talking about overall performances in this game and who was in the backfield, it was Nick Bosa. And Bosa, again, empty stat line in terms of what normal NFL stats are, sacks, all that stuff, but pressures and impact on the game. He probably had the biggest impact on that game for anybody who did not force a turnover on the 49ers defense.
Hell yeah. I mean, and this was it, right? Even Malik Collins, like I was saying, the interior O-line, obviously old friend, Laken Tomlinson, they're vulnerable up there. And it felt like they got a lot of pressures. I'm not going to see what the numbers look like, and it depends on what you think about pressures and how that impacts the game and all those things. But I felt like running 4, they weren't necessarily blitzing a lot. The 49ers did good enough. And for all the talk about the 49ers offensive line being whatever it is that you think, it is miles ahead of the Seattle Seahawks offensive line. And I think, I'm not trying to tell you, think about it could be worse. Obviously, the 49ers need to be better, but nobody's worse almost like as an offensive line than them. So nice to see you, Nick Bosa. It's really cool that, you can take over games because we all believe that you are that talented to do that.
According to Next Gen Stats, Bosa accumulated 11 of his 14 pressures against Seahawks right tackle Stone Forsythe across 27 matchups. So a pressure on 11 of 27 matchups against the right tackle. Forsythe allowed 7 pressures on 18 pass blocking snaps in the first half, the most pressures allowed in a first half by any offensive lineman in a game this season. So, again, mostly Bosa. I'm curious to see what the pressure numbers are going to say about the rest of the Niners. I know Leonard Floyd was back there a couple of times, but this really felt like a big Bosa game. It sucks that he couldn't get a sack. The whole game almost felt like that 10-minute stretch against the Patriots where Bosa was trying to get a sack and he couldn't, and then he finally got it. I was waiting for him to get there and he just never did. And that's kind of a bummer. But just the game you needed from multiple spots on this defense. We shouldn't be talking about the defense this much with how talented it is, but you needed that performance. I know Seattle managed 24 points out of it, but you got to remember 7 came off of the kickoff return. I was really thrilled by what I saw in the Niners defense tonight, and it's something that you hope carries in 10 days against the Chiefs.
Yeah, 100%. And thank God you have 10 days. And we'll figure out a lot. The 49ers could possibly have Mooney Ward back for that game. Revenge game, by the way. Let's make sure that we always use that narrative. Yes, but yeah, again, absolutely. The defense was great, and they made the plays that they needed to make when they needed to make them. We're through what, 2? So we're gonna go to the third thing.
This is your third thing, Jason.
Okay. The third thing is the 49ers. And what I mean by that is this game looked absolutely familiar to what has been happening to you lately. And it felt like for a while, especially if you were a 49ers fan, you were watching this game almost waiting for something bad to happen. Mm-hmm. And everything is moving in that direction. Everything looks familiar. I think we all sent the same tweets at the same time. Oh, I've seen this one. And you know what you did? You completely backed out of that and you finished the job. Games are going to be anxious. This is the NFL. You are going to run into teams that are going to give you these fits, especially considering the schedule on the way. The Chiefs, the Cowboys, I don't think are going to give them that game. I'm going to already talk crazy and say that we're going to blow the Cowboys out. The bye week, the 49ers should win. Who knows? And then Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Buffalo, all of those things. Look, this is how the league is, and you're not going to roll over people. And if you have to scratch and claw, you have to prove to yourself and to other people that you aren't going to make the mistakes that you are to let games get away, and you are going to finish. I love the way that you finish this game, no matter what. It don't got to be pretty. It don't got to be ugly. I don't care what it looks like. A dub is a dub is a dub is a dub in the NFL. And Gray Fox, how many kickers have to be injured before Schneider is fired? Green needs to start from now on. I never want to see 22 again. Isaac Yadam. Do we need to trade for a running back? Call Miami, give them Yadam in the 7th for Calais and Mostert. All right. Cravox, let's hold on.
Covered a lot of bases.
Let's okay. I don't think Schneider is to do with kickers. I think kickers are frail and it's fine. We can just sign Brandon McManus or Randy Bullock and be fine for next week. I'm not too worried about that. Green needs to start from now on. Mooney Ward's going to be there, so if you want to do Mooney, Green, and Lenore, I don't have too big of an issue with that, but you have to take it up with Kyle, who loves his veterans. Do we need to trade for a running back? You don't have to. Jerick McKinnon's available. So is Matt Breida. We've talked about this. Sign one of them that has been in your offense and have them there just in case. But hey, Isaac Garendo, Patrick Taylor, you guys definitely picked up the slack. And then call Miami, give them Yadam in the 7th for Calais and Mostert. I think they hang up the phone as fast as you even ask that question. So, Andrew, do you have anything else? I just wanted to rapid fire because
you covered a lot of bases. I like it. We love it.
Yeah,
I covered a lot in one question, so I really appreciate that. But I love the idea of Calais and Mostert for Yadam in a 7th. I think Niners should 100% pull the trigger on that trade. I just takes 2 to tango on that one. Unfortunately, Yadam was solid. I think. He had his moments. He had, as I said, he had that pass breakup against DK in the first half. I thought he had his moments. I don't think there was a particularly bad. Here we go. Okay, we got dueling comments. We got Yadam was solid and Yadam was terrible. Which one is it? Comments. Which one is it? But no, Jason. I think what makes this game just as impressive, and you mentioned it before we got into Gray Fox's question. There is this game felt familiar to the previous losses. And that's almost what makes it more impressive of a win is because the Niners took that punch. the kick return. You cannot say the Niners finally got the red zone touchdown on a hell of a football play. By the way,
3 of them.
I thought. Well, so but the first one, they get the very first one, 23-3, and Seattle comes back with a Laviska Shenault. By the way, Laviska Shenault is still in the league. Like, respectfully, I haven't followed Laviska Shenault personally,
Right.
and so it was kind of fun hearing his name again because that's a great football name.
Well, listen, that Laviska Shenault is the Curtis Samuel of Debo Samuels. If that makes any sense.
I think I got it.
Because we found our Debo and it's Laviska Shenault, and it's like, no, you didn't. And then like to have that happen, it's just like, there it is right there.
But yeah, so the Niners take the punch. And again, if you are a 49ers fan with a pulse, when Seattle returned that kickoff, you thought the game was turning. You thought the game, I thought the game was over. The Niners were up 23-10, and I thought a kickoff return killed it. And even too, I'll get into this here in a second, but then the muffed punt by the Seahawks, it just kind of felt like a lot of things were going against the Niners' way. They punt it, and then Renardo Green has the interception, puts the game away, essentially. So the Niners took the punch. The Niners got punched, and we've seen them take that punch a couple weeks ago and get wobbled and get knocked out. Tonight they took it, kind of stood back up, punched back a little bit, and they beat the Seahawks. So it's what was needed. It was necessary. And yeah, Jason, the 49ers absolutely win it. Like, I don't think it's too big of a stretch to say so far the win of the season. I don't think that's too far to say. It's just it was such a needed win because it was a must win, and the 49ers just won a must win game, and that's what you need to see from this team.
Yeah, and think about this. Now you have 10 days. The Kansas City Chiefs, you get to find out a little bit more about what you have as far as depth in your secondary. You're probably going to get Charvarius Ward back, because if he was that close at game time, well, you know what? Let me shut up and knock on wood. I would like to think that if he was that close at game time, that he's in position to be back next week. But it's all moving in the right direction. And again, if there was any team that was ready for the wounded animal treatment that could dig themselves out of it, this was the team. And this doesn't mean that the 49ers are back on track, but a win like this is very convincing on the road when everyone seems to think that you're cooked. That's what I kind of meant. It almost felt like you need the world to kind of start doubting you. You need everybody else to start looking at you like you're not there. And then you can have a performance like this. It was a perfect bounce back spot. And I think it was pretty obvious to see that happening with the way that the 49ers didn't have to wait until Sunday. They had to get right back in the saddle. And I think that was the best thing that could have ever happened to this team.
Yeah, they got right back in. I mean, we talked about it earlier. It's just I did not have the excitement up for this game because of what happened 4 days ago. And I'm very happy that the Niners looked as good as they did and turned it around on the short rest, so it was needed. Jason, my third and final thing has nothing to do with the 49ers, has nothing to do with the Seattle Seahawks. How the fuck in a $1 billion league does Amazon Prime have a replay angle that the NFL does not have? And the NFL should be thanking their lucky stars that the Seahawks did not score on that drive, because I believe that was a drive to tie the game. The Niners were it was a drive to take the lead. It was a 6-point game. Williams back to return a punt. I forget the Niners player who got pushed into him. If I remember, I might have the note here. But a Niner player gets pushed into him. The ball bounces and hits the return man's hand. They didn't call it on the field. Shanahan challenged it. And it's one of those challenges, which, by the way, another side complaint. Why am I paying Amazon Prime? Why am I giving Jeff Bezos my money for them to run commercials? I thought I give you money, you don't show commercials. Anyway, it's one of those replays where they show you a look and they're like, we got to go to commercial. You won't really know what happens until we come back. So you got to sit through the commercial break. The comeback, the very first replay, as clear as day,
It hits
the
his
ball
hand.
hits his hand, and it's like, oh shit, the Niners are going to get the ball. Ref comes out and says, call stands. And the first question is what the hell are they looking at? And it turns out, as Amazon tells us 10 minutes later, they didn't have the replay, the angle to show the ball hitting his hand.
Yep.
That is unbelievable. That is a couple years ago. This is other football, soccer. Wolves lost the game to Liverpool because there's a missed replay review, and it was because the offsides happened on a blind spot on the field.
Yep.
How does that happen? That's what it reminded me of. How does Amazon Prime have access to a replay that the NFL does not have? And that is just insane to me. Sorry, I yelled a lot there.
No.
I cannot fathom how the NFL, the most popular American sport, maybe even the most soccer is the most popular sport in the world, most popular American sport, can't get that right. That's unbelievable to me. Unbelievable to me. And it almost cost the Niners the game.
Gang, I'm so glad that you said this because we are a very pro podcast about not blaming the refs. But what the fuck were y'all looking at? So I literally tweeted right after the play ended, because Chris Conley was obviously thrown into the punt returner. And I tweeted there, how is that not our ball? And smartasses, it never touched the Seahawks. Shut the fuck up and listen and watch the game, man, if you want to know what's going on. There was nothing to look at. It was clear as day that happened. Of course, they're not going to – it's not that commercial where the guy admits to having the ball touch off his hands and he goes and then the coach is like, good job. That's not how the NFL works. He reacted the way he was supposed to react, but it was clear as day. And it's funny to laugh at now, but what's funny is – special teams are the things that's the only thing that kept the Seahawks in this game. And, and it kept them in it again. And the one time, obviously, it's a return touchdown. This one, we have absolutely everything to say about the refs. If there was a 2-minute warning in the NFL, like that, or like how they do in the NBA, where they go through the 2 minutes and they would pick apart so many things, and that's why the NFL refuses to do it to protect their refs. The NBA does it. They put their refs out there, and you know exactly what every ref's tendency is. We have a good idea of what NFL refs' tendencies are, but if there was a 2-minute report in the same way that it was with the NFL, the NBA, it would be so much easier. But yeah, man, I don't complain about the refs, because there's other parts of the game that don't let it come down to the refs. But that's some fucking bullshit. Like off the rip, man. Like that's it.
It's not even a ref thing. It's more of an NFL thing. It's just how do you not?
What's the point of the replay? What's the point of the replay?
Like, because that was my first tweet of what's the point of the replay review if you get the call wrong still? But what's the point of replay review if you don't have all the camera angles? And that's just insane. That is insane to me that the very first replay they showed coming back from commercial was the replay the NFL needed to see to overturn that call. And they just flat out were like, yeah, we didn't have it. That's insane. And I cannot understand how it happens. Jason, it's been a long day. It's been a long day. Second podcast.
I'm having a blast.
I'm having a blast. You're having a blast. We can talk Yankees here in a second.
No. We don't got to talk Yankees. Look, all you need to know, Yankees in the ALCS, one step closer to the World Series. We're good. But we're here to talk San Francisco 49ers, which is better. It's like literally Christmas right now because we shitted on those stupid Seahawks. And no matter what it is, oh my God, Mike McDonald and his defense from Baltimore, he's going to bring it over. He doesn't bring over Kyle Hamilton and Patrick Queen and all of them. So shut the hell up with all that, game plan stuff. I was tired of that the entire week. I don't care what it is that you run. If you don't got dogs to run it, who gives a shit, man? Stop acting like Mike McDonald is just all of a sudden this game breaker. Shut up, man. I don't want to hear that shit.
Jason, earlier today, we did a podcast where I said, hey, here's the remainder of the Niners schedule. This is the vibe right now.
Yep.
And we listed win-loss for the rest of the season. I just want to update the people. So we went through the season. We both give the Niners a win tonight. But before the game tonight, Jason had the
Uh-huh.
49ers finishing the season 10-7.
Yep.
I had them finishing at 9-8.
Yep.
We are now approximately 8 hours later. The Niners
Yep.
have won. They beat the Seattle Seahawks. Let's go through and see what the vibe looks like for the remainder of the season.
You know what
so
it's
the
about to be.
49ers 3-3.
Yep.
Kansas City Chiefs next week. We both had this as a loss.
Yep. No, nope. Dub. Let's go.
Dub.
We're all the way back. We get
Yeah.
Charvarius Ward back. We figure some things out on defense. They don't have the receivers to do it anymore. I'll be damned if Juju Smith-Schuster beats my ass on my team, because I will literally get on here and I will yell at everybody on the mic. No. 49ers over the Chiefs, and get ready, Holmes. Back-to-back weeks, my teams are about to send your ass home with an L, and I cannot be more excited for that.
I'm putting this as a win as well. We put it as a loss earlier, but it's just the Chiefs are 5-0, and they could be a 2-3 team, just like the 49ers.
Good for them.
Niners could be 6-0 right now, but they're 3-3. I think the Niners figure it out next week, and boy, oh boy, this isn't going to come back and bite us expecting to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Jason, I'm sure we'll be totally right on that one. I don't need to ask the next game. I'm just going to put a W against Dallas.
Oh, yeah, against the Cowboys? Are you sick in your head if you think that I'm going to say that the 49ers are going to lose to those scrub-ass Cowboys? Absolutely not.
Niners, after the bye, go to Tampa Bay. Now, I had this as a loss earlier today.
Yep.
I'm flipping the decision. W. You had it as a W. I'm assuming you're keeping it as a W. I'm
keeping it as a dub. I'm keeping it as a dub. That pass defense is trash. I'm good. I'm straight on Tampa Bay.
I'm flipping it to a dub. I really liked what I saw. The point I made earlier today was Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Well, if the Niners can't stop the three receivers today, they stopped the three receivers today. I feel much more confident against Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Versus Seattle, I think that both stays a win. So we're going to go to at Green Bay. We both had it as a loss earlier today.
I have that one as a loss.
You're going to keep it as a loss?
No. I'm not keeping it as a loss.
Okay.
I'm changing that one.
Okay. I like it.
I'm changing that one. The 49ers go into Green Bay in a cold game, and they whip their ass in front of that stadium. Like, that is not hollow ground anymore. The team that I saw that came out today, even with who else was out there, they're ready to go. So I'm changing it to a W. I'm changing that one to a W.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that one as a W too. I mean, at Seattle on a short week, that's one of the tougher road places you can play. Lambeau, one of the tougher road places you can play as well. I'm just gonna have them as a win because we saw it tonight. We saw what the Niners can do in those tough road situations. At Buffalo, and I'm going to keep this one as a loss.
I'm staying as a L.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it as a loss. Josh Allen's very good as of right now.
He's going to have one of those games where he just does a little bit too much that the defense can't stop. So yeah, No, Buffalo.
Oh, Freezy being like, no way, y'all changing this.
Yes, we are.
Are you new to this podcast?
Yes, we are.
New to this podcast?
Axel said we ain't losing to Buffalo. I still got Buffalo beating us. I got Buffalo.
Axel said it.
Especially because I think Devontae Adams is going to be a Bill sooner than later too in that game.
Oh, Freezy. This was we introduced it earlier based off of vibes. This isn't based off of any logic.
Oh, yeah.
We made the picks based off of vibes of what the 49ers were earlier today. Now it's the vibes based off of post-win. Vibes are much better. Versus Chicago, I had it as a W. Something about this game scares me, but that's a December conversation. So I'm going to guess you keep it as a W. We're both W's versus the Rams. I think earlier today we had it at Miami with Tua. We keeping those both W's as well?
I have it a W. Yeah, I had it a W before that.
Yeah, I did too. Versus Detroit.
No, I'll keep it as a L.
I think I want to keep that one as an L too. I think there's a world that exists that Detroit's the best team in the NFL. And I think by that point, especially too in a situation where it could be NFC number 1 seed on the line, something like that, I'm gonna go Detroit. That's just based off of right now. I think Detroit's better. And then they close at Arizona. I'm gonna go W. I think you're gonna go W. So Jason, you started as 10-7 earlier today. The Niners post. They're going to move to, we have 2 losses. Yep, 12-5. Woo. And I have it at, I think, 12-5 as well.
And that was absolutely calculated. That was absolutely calculated, Andrew Pasquini, because I had the 49ers at 12-5 before the season started. So don't think that wasn't calculated and that wasn't
Yeah, so
thought about.
So just based off of vibes alone, and Mark, I'm looking it up right now. Who does Buffalo play before the Niners? I'm going to look it up. I'm going to pull it up for you. I'm talking to Stall.
You know what's
Guess
pretty
what?
funny? Hold on, I
They
got you.
play. Guess who Buffalo plays before the Niners? Their bye
Who?
week. Shocker.
Oh, well, they're off a bye week. But you know what's funny is there's a new narrative out, like the 49ers last season. If you play Detroit and you lose the next week.
Yep.
So the 49ers would be bucking a trend by losing to Detroit if they did, and then beating Arizona.
So the Bills go Kansas City bye week and then the 49ers. So there's a little stretch. So Jason, earlier today, 10-7, 9-8, now 12-5. Everything's better in San Francisco. We like it. Hey, we're gonna get to the 3 stars of the game. Jason, a lot of players to choose from, a little bit of a different vibe than Sunday. Oh man, I'm gonna let you go first. I want to see what you're thinking. Who's your number 3 star?
The 49ers secondary in every single way. No one gave you a puncher's chance today with Mooney Ward being out. No one believed in you. No one thought that you were going to hold down this receiving trio. And you know what you did? Ronaldo Green, Malik Mustafa, you turned the ball over twice. And again, we were talking about it all this season. The 49ers have done a great job of turning the football over and ending drives last season. That was not happening this season. So regardless of your flaws on defense, if you turn the football over and stop drives and end them that way, that is a way to mask all that. Maybe we're seeing a little bit of that comeback, but it's great to see it from the 2 rookies, the 49ers secondary without Mooney Ward. Hello, good to see you. And honestly, we thought you were going to be the strongest group that the 49ers have seen under Kyle Shanahan. And you know what? Hard to argue right now, no matter what you believe about who's playing. Look at the results and look at who's contributing. The 49ers secondary is my 3rd star.
My number 3 star is, I think it's a name we haven't even mentioned today. Brock Purdy.
Okay.
I think, listen, after the game 4 days ago, I needed to see something. I needed to see how he bounced back because it wasn't a very good game. It was the first game of the season where I felt like he took a step back. And sure, this wasn't his best game. He didn't do anything extra spectacular. The most spectacular thing he might have done is hit that higher on 13.5 rushing yards. But he accumulated a really good game. 18 for 28, 255, 3 touchdowns. It's just a very good bounce back after what I thought was his weakest game of the season. And to do it 4 days later in Seattle, kind of reminiscence of a couple of years ago when he gets hurt against Tampa Bay, has to play on a short week in Seattle and dominate. So tough game for him on Sunday. Very, very good bounce back for him today. Just what you needed from Brock Purdy. He's going to be my number 3 star. Who's your number 2 star?
Isaac Guerrero and Patrick Taylor. And I'm going to tell you why. I have made the unpopular argument, and I don't know how unpopular it is, especially after the way that you saw Jordan Mason get injured and the despair that you felt in your chest when you watched that happen. Jordan Mason is the most invaluable weapon in the 49ers offense. If you cannot run the football, then this offense will not work. And this is what we've been talking about for weeks, Andrew. I've said it once, and everyone said, how is it not Brock Purdy the most important? Brock Purdy is the quarterback. Nothing's more important than that. But his ancillary weapons, it is Jordan Mason. If Jordan Mason is not here to contribute and the 49ers cannot run the football, this offense will have the wheels fall off. Patrick Taylor and Isaac Guerrero both stepped into less than ideal situations and played the way that they did. And that means the 49ers still need to bring someone else in just to back everything up. But this is a performance between one guy who is largely a rookie, and I mean, not largely, he's a rookie, and he hasn't seen a lot of reps, and Patrick Taylor, who's been a journeyman. The 49ers offense only runs well when you're able to run the football. If you want to argue about when they shouldn't run the football, that's up to you, but there's no way this offense can function without a running game. Patrick Taylor, Isaac Guerrero, you stepped up to the plate immediately when your number was called. Can't get any better than that. That is a sign of a well-coached group that is together, and that's how you get that done.
Yeah, and I don't know how sustainable is over the long term with a Garendo Taylor backfield. I think if Mason's injured for a period of time, I think the Niners are going to have to address the running back situation. But in relief, when the Niners need it, that's huge. That's just huge. And that run again, I mentioned I wasn't a huge fan of Garendo's game before the big run. But in that situation, for you to pull that play out and get that big run, that's huge. So yeah, I love the pick for Garendo and Taylor for your second. My second star is going to be Debo Samuel.
Yeah.
Just for the one play. I know Kittle had the 2 touchdowns, all
Yeah.
that. But I cannot overstate how important that touchdown was for an offense that was really, really struggling in the red zone. I know they fixed it in the second half a little bit, but to come out of the game, have as good of a drive as they did, kick a field goal. I think it was 25-yard field goal. Already the doubts of hey, red zone in the back of your head, and you just come out and answer with a 76-yard touchdown. Debo goes up and makes the play. He finishes the play. Again, I don't want to overstate a play, but I think in 5 weeks, if the 49ers rip off a 5-6 game winning streak, we can really look at the Debo Samuel 76-yard touchdown in Seattle. That's kind of the play that turned around the Niners a little. Almost a couple years ago, what was the big one? He had the screen pass. I forget where it was at. Maybe it was Chicago. He had a big screen play right before the half, and
Yeah,
they
and on
scored on it.
Halloween.
What was that
He
play?
saved
Yeah,
it for the season.
and the play that saved the 49, it's almost like one of those. Obviously, that one's a little more dramatic. It's Halloween, and that's really when the season picks up. But I can see if the Niners really rip off a stretch here, we look back at that play and be like, okay, this is where the 49ers started to feel better. And that's just a huge play to me. So he's going to be my number 2 star.
I love that, man. Shout out to Debo Samuel, man. Whenever the lights are the brightest and whenever it's time for you to get your thing, you get it done, man. I'm gonna say George Kittle, man. I'm gonna take my easy way out of this. I wanted to say Fred Warner because Fred Warner is the defensive player of the year. And there's 2 plays in this game in which, obviously on the screen pass and him like jumping in like a torpedo, punching out the ball. Obviously, it didn't end with the fumble recovery, but Fred Warner is the defensive player of the year. Kiss my ass, Aiden Hutchinson, and anybody else that you have like to bring up in this discussion. But George Kittle, 2 touchdowns. You always seem to come through against Seattle in Seattle. You left this game for a little bit. It's still a matter of, yes, you're missing Christian McCaffrey, but good God, we still have George Kittle, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. That's more than enough. And you proved that again. So George Kittle, man, keep whipping the ass, man. Keep whipping the Seahawks ass, man. I'm with it.
My number 1 player is going to be multiple players. It's going to be the secondary. I
love it.
I love that game from the
I love it.
secondary, man.
I love it.
I think the Malik Mustafa, because it's a division game, right? And I don't want to overhype a first quarter play because it's a first quarter. There's still 45 minutes of a football game left. But Seattle is driving the ball, moving the ball well on their opening drive. And yes, Geno Smith overthrows Tyler Lockett on a 3rd down. But Mustafa being there to make the play, Seattle's in field goal range, and it's 3 points to start the game if it's not for the interception. But then also the Renardo Green pick, that back angle, they showed the replay on it. That back angle, that's beautiful tracking by him. He read Geno Smith. He knew exactly what Geno Smith was trying to do with that ball, and he broke to the spot before Geno Smith released it. I don't know if out of all the circumstances and all the simulations in my brain about this game entering it, I was going to have the 49ers secondary as my number 1 star. But man, I just what a performance when the Niners defense needed a performance like that to get it from Mustafa. I know Yadam had not a great game, but he had some moments. George Odom with that pass breakup on the DK Metcalf deep shot. I was amazed by the secondary, not just the veterans, but the rookies as well. So I'll gladly take the secondary as my number 1 star in a game like tonight.
Hell yeah. I got honorable mention.
Honorable mention. I like it.
Matthew Wright. Nice to see you, man.
Matt, we like it.
You stepped in. You kicked. I don't know what that says about the kicker position. I'll leave that up to the viewer. But it was nice to see you step in and make all your kicks when you were previously not working. Not easy, something that I consider to be very important. But shout out to you, Matthew Wright.
Yeah.
Honorable mention, man.
Yeah, I mean, it even too, not only the field goals, but him, kicking that ball off and forcing the fumble. It almost like the Matthew Wright, like special teams era, changed the vibes of special teams, and then everything collapsed in the second half. And we hate special teams again. But yeah, man, I mean, especially for a podcast where we really, really, really like to talk about third-round picks on kickers and about how you can find.
You know
kickers on the
exactly what I'm
street.
saying. All of you know exactly what I'm saying.
You can read in between the lines and see what we're saying here.
It's fine.
But Niners got it, and the Niners pick up the victory. So, Jason, Niners going to the bye week. You're feeling good. Chiefs in 10 days, but don't think about that. Enjoy your football Sunday this week. No, Niners can't ruin your football Sunday. I don't know why I got so low on my camera sitting down. I'm in all scrunched down and all that stuff. But you're feeling really good. But, Jason, how about those New York Yankees?
How about those New York Yankees? We'll see you, Detroit, Cleveland, when we see you. Come to the Bronx. But, oh, baby, Giancarlo Stanton is your playoff MVP so far. Shout out to you, Garrett Cole. And, guys, it was hard to watch both games, but I watched the 49ers more intently, if that's what you want to hear.
Hey, how sick is it, though, for the Yankees and Royals to save their benches clearing thing for halftime of the 49er game? That's pretty cool.
Who cares? No, the Royals guy was just upset because he knew what was about to happen, and he got a little tagged. He got a little tagged on his hand, and Volpe said, he patted him on the back. He got a little sad. It's all right, man. It's okay. There's always next year, Kansas City. We'll see you, always Cleveland or Detroit, and then we'll deal with whoever comes on the other side. But we're starting to look good over here on this side, and the Niners and the Yankees winning is the best day ever.
Is this the first time the Yankees have made the CS since 10?
Yes.
Okay, so I was just curious.
No, not 10. Not 10.
When they make the LCS last time?
No, 2017 they lost to the Astros. 2019 they lost to the Astros.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
They just kept running into the Astros. Yeah. Whoa. Don't do that.
I don't know Seam, I guess. I don't know Seam. It's a bummer. Wow, that was brutal. Yes, they have multiple CS appearances since 2010. 4 to be exact. 3 to be exact. 3 to be exact. There we go. We got it
Yanks.
right.
Yanks, Niners. All I know is this. Look, Andrew, let's keep it a buck. The Seattle Seahawks fucking stink, and that's it. I'm gonna look right in the camera, and I hope that you guys that cover them, I hope that when you go and you do your podcast in the morning, you're like, oh my god, we're not good. We couldn't even beat the team. You know why? Because y'all are not good, and you're still 6 in a row against the Seattle Seahawks. We talked about this objectively. Fuck that. Let's go in now. Seattle. You know what? Y'all are little brothers. Y'all the little ones, and you are on the other side of this. I'm not gonna let y'all slide. We not letting y'all slide, and I'm not letting you slide on Twitter either. You think I'm just starting at 12:22? I'm gonna be up to 3 in the morning cooking everybody on Twitter. What are you talking about, bro? Seattle. Guess what? Bang bang. Get these nuts. Get out of here, man. You're out of here. Pause, man. The hell out of here.
It feels very good to be on the other side of the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson era. I'll tell you that. It's 6 in a row like 6 in a row against the Seahawks. It feels you tell Andrew 5 years ago that the Niners would have 6 in a row against the Seahawks, and I would think that's crazy. But 6 in a row, like the team that it's not even the stadium that haunted them; it's the team that's haunted them for a decade now. And it's kind of funny when the Rabbits got the gun, and that's just what this is. The Niners are dominating the Seahawks once again. It feels good, and we like it. We like to see it. I don't think Mike McDonald had what he thought would be the game. Nicholas, thank you so much for the super chat. Niners fan here from NY. Yanks stand up. Hit on Debo anytime. Touchdown 100 made me 240. Here's a piece, Niners and Yankees all day. We appreciate it. Look at, we got another Niner Yankee guy.
Nicholas, I told you, big Debo game. Stop playing with me. I got another one for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll figure it out when I get there. But Ayuk last week, Debo big game this week. Let's go Yankees. And hell yeah, we love when we make money out here. Hell yeah.
We love it. Especially when it's off of, Jason Aponte advice. He was hyping Debo Samuel, and he hits it. He gets the touchdown. Niners win. Jason, I hope you enjoy your week. I hope you enjoy your 10-day bye. I hope you enjoy your football Sunday. I hope the Yankees sweep. I hope the Yankees don't lose a game again this season because
we're not playing for a minute because they got game 5, so they got to figure that out. You know what? You know who's gonna start game 1 for the New York Yankees if y'all keep messing around? Garrett Cole again, man. Everything's lining up right now. Yankees, let's go.
We like it. Hey, hopefully the Yankees keep winning. Hopefully the Niners keep winning. We'll be back next week at some point. We'll have a preview of the 49ers versus Chiefs. I got to figure out exactly what day we're going to do that because I am going to a wedding next Friday. So we'll figure that out. We'll let you know when we find out. But Jason, feeling good. 36-24, 49ers win. First win in the NFC this season. First win in the NFC West as well. And Jason, don't look now, but the San Francisco 49ers are in first place in the NFC West. And Cardinals' loss on Sunday would ensure them a first place spot after week 6 as well. So we'll see how that looks. But Jason, had fun. It was an enjoyable day. I'm going to go write a NinersNation.com article, game in review. I'm going to talk a little bit about that second quarter. I'm going to talk a little bit about the refs not having a replay angle. So fun. I'm looking forward to writing that tonight. We're going to get that done. Thursday night games are always fun, Jason. I think the Niners have another one later. But we're going to get out of here. We're going to give you guys your Thursday night. We're going to let Jason Aponte go out and have a little bit of fun. Celebrate those Yankees. Celebrate those Giants. 49ers. There we go. Baseball brain. Maybe celebrate those Sharks a little bit. Macklin Celebrini, future's here. Jason Aponte, it was fun talking to you today. I enjoy it. Look forward to it every time. I'm looking forward to next week to talk 49ers Chiefs with you. But Jason Aponte, we say it on this podcast every time, as always.
Let's go Niners. Smoking on that Seattle pack.
We like it. 6 in a row against Seattle. Make it 400. Never lose again to Seattle, please. I like it.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.